We've opened up the Forbidden folder this morning. Bit of a worry. There was a shooting at a Keilor cafe in broad daylight over the weekend. There was that one in South Yarra a few weeks back. It seems the Underworld is in the news at the moment. So that's what we've asked this morning. 13 24 10. Are you in the Underworld? Shock horror, no one called up. No one dobbed themselves in.
That's why we've done here's one we prepared earlier.
Yeah, literally. So this person is a heavy. They're sort of out of that world now, but they've certainly done it all. Neil the Muscle Cummins. He was a bodyguard for someone you'd certainly be familiar with. He joins us now. Neil, how did you originally get involved in the Underworld?
I actually started off as a doorman in Sydney, and it was just by chance that, I took over the top security job for John Ibrahim of all his nightclubs. I kind of just worked my way up the ladder kind of thing with the trust, and he got to see what I could do on the doors and went from there.
So there's no initiation per se. You more just proved yourself.
Well, I did, but if I go back a little bit more, my father had links to some of the Underworld in Liverpool, UK, so I've grown up with it, but I just didn't get into it because I went down a different path. And then, so when I came over to Sydney, I just kind of drifted back into it again. So, but yeah, that's how it came up. I just took over the doors, John seen what I could do. And I kind of said to John one day I want to be a bodyguard. And it happened eventually.
Oh, my God. I mean, I know there's a book, John Abraham, Last King of the Cross. I know he's been shot or stabbed. I know. So I'd imagine stabbed quite a. I mean, you're his bodyguard. Quite.
You're probably there. You probably saw
it. I wasn't there when he got stabbed.
Okay, good.
That's why he got stabbed.
Yeah,
okay.
You were having an RDO. But I mean, obviously, that's quite a dangerous position to be in. I mean, yeah, you can be Tom Cruise's bodyguard. He's an important person, but he's also not a gangland figure. Like most people aren't going to try and kill Tom Cruise, but if you're involved in that world, that is a real possibility. Were you ever in any sticky situations when you were John Abraham's bodyguard?
Oh, well, there has been a lot of situations, like John can handle himself. Don't get me wrong there, but the gangland wars were on back when I was there. It was big with the bikies and all like that. So when we were in King's Cross, we were always watching our backs. I would go home different ways, come in different cars to work. Sometimes I didn't even trust the police at one stage. There's been a drive-by shooting. Someone came down at one of John's venues, a practice run the week before. When they did the practice run, they came down Oxford Street. They put their hands out as guns, and then they shot at us, pretending like it was guns. But the next week, they actually did it. Oh. It was just like, oh, my God. So then you realize the week before, that's why they were doing it. It was just luckily that 5 minutes prior to the shooting, I just wanted to move the bollards from the door inside. And where I usually have the bollards, 8 bullets went where I usually stand.
Whoa.
So it was like it was fate that I was supposed to move. But, I've also had a gun to my head twice. Once on King's Cross outside a strip club where John was having a meeting.
Yeah.
And this guy just came past and he kept walking past the door. And then all of a sudden he just pulled a gun out and he ran for the door. And I'm thinking he's going for John because he's having a meeting downstairs.
Yeah.
And I just had to try and get the gun out of his hand, and I did. I just kept, doing what I had to do to get him to drop it, and then I deal with the situation. You know what I mean? So there has been situations, when I've been shot at, my car's been shot at my apartment, where I think it was 7 bullets into my car.
Does insurance cover that?
It did, actually. It did.
Oh, it did?
Wow. That's wild.
Oh, my God.
I mean, need to get your insurance on. I like how people...
Allianz Insurance, my car's been shot.
The kids skateboarding past your car going, oh, cool bullet hole stickers, man. You're like, no, they're actually real. So, I mean, we do know you have a podcast now, and you can hear more from Neil in the Secrets of the Underworld podcast. You can listen wherever you get your pods. But I'm assuming you didn't finish up and then start a podcast. Like, what did you sort of do in between? Because I'd imagine it's pretty hard to get hired when you're like, what was your last job? Yeah, security for John Abraham. Yeah.
It actually was, when I finished. No one wanted to touch me when they realised that what I used to do. So that was pretty hard. So at the moment, I'm in the process of going around juvenile correctional centres with a bra boy called Dean Clark. And we're going to go in there and talk to, juveniles who are in there, whatever they've done, and try and help them, give them advice.
Oh, good.
I'm writing a book at the moment, a new book, and I said the podcast is taking a lot of time. And I've got next year I've got a TV show that's coming out, so I'm got like a lot of projects going on at the moment.
Wow.
Now, I've also just Googled a picture of you. I'm just going to show the guys here. I think you're the biggest man I've ever seen
Muscles.
in my life.
I've seen the muscles.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
insane.
Like, it's hard getting an idea of, like, but then I just, like, quickly punch in your name and I was like, oh, yep, yeah, no, I can see why you left the Underworld with anyone trying to stop you, because they're just like, nah, that guy can do what he wants. We'll just let him kind of go his own way, I think.
Yeah. Look, make sure you check it out. Secrets of the Underworld podcast. As Liam said, you can listen wherever you get your pods. Neil Cummins, thank you so much for your time this morning.
No, thank you for having me on.